we're making a bacon, beer, butternut, and beef stew. First, I start with a big slab of beef chuck from the butcher, and I just buy a whole slab. I never buy the pre-cubed, because I ask them to give me a lean, well-trimmed piece of chuck. What I've done here is taken what was a half a pound of bacon, nice meaty bacon, and a drizzle of olive oil, and I rendered it out. In the drippings, I take the beef, which I cube myself, and I make really large, like 2.5-inch pieces, so that when this cooks down, it'll be falling apart. You don't want it to be in little bits. You want it to look like stew, not like soup. You know what I mean? So, in the drippings now, I'm gonna turn the heat back. That was over medium-high to high heat. Almost as high as this stove goes. Big Dutch oven, lower third of the oven, one rack, oven hot to 325, okay? In the drippings, I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil, room temperature meat, any protein dry. Then I season with kosher salt, black pepper, dredge lightly in a little bit of flour, helps thicken the stew later. Brown the meat in several batches so you're not crowding your pan. That's what I've done here. When it's this deep brown and crunchy, crusty color, color equals flavor in everything in food. So we're gonna take that out and put that off to the side. Then we're going to start adding our root vegetables, carrots, celery, onion, all down into the meat drippings that are stuck to the bottom of the pot. A couple of beautiful fresh bay leaves, a little bit of nutmeg that'll highlight the squash we're gonna throw in later. A little bit of salt and pepper, of course, for the veg. Grate a little garlic down into the pot. 3 or 4 good-sized cloves. And then we're gonna partially cover this and sweat the vegetables. Get them to give off some of their liquids before we deglaze the pan. Give this a nice stir. And I lowered the heat just slightly. Now it's between medium and medium-high. And just let the vegetables kind of get their thing going on. There we go. We've got our herb bundles in there, our carrot, celery, onion, garlic. Now we're going to add our dried spices and give them a little bit of a toast. We're gonna put in just a hint of ground allspice. We're gonna put in a palmful of paprika, or smoked paprika, which is called pimenton. And about the same of dry mustard. 2 teaspoons to a scant palmful or tablespoon. Give that a stir. And then we're gonna add a few tablespoons, about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, or I prefer sun-dried tomato paste. It's tangier and kind of a sweet and sour flavor going on that I really dig. Okay, once we can smell the tomato paste, it's ready to add the liquid. So 1 bottle of lager, 1 bottle of beer, a couple of fat tablespoons of Worcestershire, and a couple of cups of beef stock. Now we're gonna add in the beef, put that back in. And there should be just enough liquid, this is perfect, to come up to the top of the beef so it's submerged. Okay? And then we're going to add the bacon back in, or you can save it for a garnish. That will take 90 minutes to 2 hours for it to start to be really tender, just about there. That's when you take it out and add in your potatoes and your butternut squash. So I portioned 3 chunks of butternut and 3 chunks of potato per person. Each large russet potato I cut into 6 pieces. So this would be enough for 4 to 6 adults, the 3 large potatoes that I have here and the dozen or so pieces of squash. You take the stew right to the table and just pile up the bowls and everybody comes a-running. And then, you know, I just like a little pop of green on the top of anything that's brown and stewy. So this is why I keep those chunks nice and big. See, it just plates up so lovely. It doesn't look like it came out of a can or a box or a tray, you know what I mean? Those big pieces are so beautiful. And see how that little bit of flour dredging really thickens up your gravy. Really lovely. Put him down over here, and then give him a little sprinkle of your chive and parsley action. And there you go.